Welcome to the Cleaning Up Business Podcast. My name's Chris Guilfoyle and I'm going to be your host. In every episode, we're hoping to bring you industry leaders from a wide variety of service sectors, disruptors within their industry, and day-to-day entrepreneurs with some business and life lessons for you guys to take away. Let's jump in to today's episode. Obviously, you're the first person we've had on in a family scenario.
We leave family life at the door. When you walk in here, it's business.
Totally agree with that. Did you struggle with that initially?
Then had 3,000 products to learn. And I just knew a toilet roll to be a toilet roll. So I felt the pressure straight away.
Nothing like the deep end.
But what I came to realise that straight away, as much as it's fun, every day was the same.
Is that something that people wouldn't know about you?
Natural progression was to kind of expand the business. I chucked a stapler at him. You know, accidents happen. We're all human. I think I wanted to prove to him that he'd made the right decision. We're doing this and he's not needed anymore.
Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of the Cleaning Up Business Podcast. Today, I am fortunate enough to be joined by Tilley of Chartway Janitorial Supply. And Hannah has been the Sales and Marketing Director for 14 years now. Adam's gave me the wrong information with 13, so apologies for that. Hannah, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So tell us a little bit about yourself. We go all the way back to the start. Tell us a little bit about your journey before you got into the janitorial supply business.
Okay. Went to a mixed comp school in Maidstone in Kent.
Yeah. Nice and local for a change.
Loved it, actually. Wasn't the most academic.
No.
But I just liked school. Had good friends.
Like the social side of it more than
Yeah, definitely. I was kind of more a creative. So I liked English, but more sporty, more creative, like drama-based stuff.
Yeah.
From that point of view, you know, maths wasn't great at it. I think it was more that you had to get it right. There was only one answer.
Sure.
And someone standing at the front with a board and a pen. I just couldn't grasp it. Yeah. So, from there, I went to, I'd done my A-levels, decided to stay on at sixth form.
Did? What did you study?
Performing arts and English, yeah. Still wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but just really enjoyed being at school. So gets to the point you think, oh, what am I going to do? Do I go and look around colleges? Do I look around unis? No one in my family had been to uni. I thought, oh, do you know what? I'll go and have a look, see what there is. And I come across it was a drama school actually, in Sidcup called Rose Bruford. Looked at what they'd done and they'd done something called Organising Live Arts. So that was kind of the creative field. It was organising live events, live gigs, for theatre and shows. And whenever we put a show on anyway, so I was quite sporty, was always doing gymnastics, dancing outside of school. When we put on shows, I loved doing the backstage stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't always like performing, just like being part of something backstage, putting the show together. So I went to look around and thought, as soon as we walked in, it was small, it wasn't massive. Everyone was kind of out performing. It's like, yeah, I like this, it's good. So obviously needed to pass A-levels to be able to get there. So also to be able to get there, by now I was doing my driving lessons. And I had to drive there. From where I lived, it would have been, you know, I lived in a village. Yep. It was a 2-hour bus just to the town, then to get a train and then switch trains. So the only way to get there would be to pass driving test. So that was in the back of my mind. And I thought, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to apply anyway. So I did. A-level results came. Didn't get what I needed.
Didn't.
I thought, what am I going to do? So I rang my tutor straight away and said, oh, I'm not going to be able to come. That's exactly what I wanted to do, but I can't get there. And he said the best thing, he said, do you know what? That test, all that does is just show me that you can pass that particular bit of paper.
Yep.
That doesn't tell me anything about you. You know, you think, actually, yeah, that's why I'm doing this. I wanted to go into a creative field. A bit of paper is not going to show anyone how you are.
No, of course.
So that was rare. Like, it's the first time someone had actually kind of said to you, you don't need a bit of paper.
You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
It's ironic. We speak to people that on the channel all the time that go to uni and things like that. And I don't think we've ever had anyone on that's said, actually, you know, the results I got from uni, or I mean, GCSEs. I flunked my GCSEs. I think I had the capability there, but like you, I enjoyed the social side of school, and I chose to mess about more than I did apply myself. I have never once been asked for my my results, GCSEs, and then it doesn't define you, does it?
No, absolutely.
Clearly, in your case.
Yeah,
so did you get in? Yeah.
So thankfully, I called him, and I'd say that to anyone. Anyway, I think it's just a great thing to think. Actually, if you don't, especially now with kids trying to get into where they want to be, give someone a call, because there's always another option.
Yeah.
And actually, I would have come away from there thinking, I didn't get what I needed to. I can't go down this route.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I don't know how it happened, but he said, come back in for another chat. So I did. He said, no, join us. Come and join us. So now I just had to pass my test.
Yeah.
Which I did. So that was good.
First time?
No, second.
I've done mine third, so I can't speak.
I think the first time, I think he said, turn right or something. I just pulled over, pulled into space. So yeah. So by now I've passed my test, so I could go.
Yeah.
So that was great. So then off I went to uni. My first year I was driving there backwards and forwards, which was fine. I was only Maidstone and uni was Tidcup.
Yeah. Not too far.
Not too far. By the second year, I thought, I'm a bit bored of driving.
Oh, really?
I'm missing out on like all the social stuff. So I said to my parents, I want to move out. My dad's like, no, can't move out. You need to stay at home. So no, I did. I moved out.
Yeah. How old was you?
Oh, how old were you then? 18?
Young.
Yeah. So second year, third year, I was living around Sidcup. Loved uni. That was great. Had some great placements. So I was up in the West End a lot on some of the West End shows. So Mary Poppins, Billy Elliot, Les Mis. Yeah, loved it.
Is that something that people wouldn't know about you?
Maybe.
Yeah.
A lot of friends obviously do. But yeah. So, backstage stuff, kind of sorting out the wigs for the shows. But what I came to realise that straight away, as much as it's fun, every day was the same. So the shows that they do are great and amazing, but it got a bit boring just doing the same thing.
I suppose you're on repeat, literally.
On repeat, yeah. Maybe different when you're performing, but backstage, I just wanted something more. I wanted to go in somewhere that would be different every day.
Yeah.
From there, I got a couple of jobs. So my first job going back at school was my first sales job was actually selling double glazing.
Oh, really?
I think half the school was there actually.
Yeah. What, telephone?
Yeah.
Good industry to be in though, isn't it? Because we've had a few people in the sales role. Yeah. It familiarises you with rejection, I would imagine. Yeah,
absolutely. And the first time I stepped into this telesales room, I just couldn't believe my eyes. Yeah. So many people just on phones. You had to learn this script. And I think I went in after second or third shift. My mum dropped me off. And then all of a sudden the manager said, no, you can't work here anymore. We're setting up somewhere else down the road. And it felt like that. It was a rotating industry. You'd kind of go in one day and then the manager would then move to another firm and off you go somewhere else.
Right.
But when you're young, it didn't matter.
Not so much, sure.
So yeah. So I had a telesales job, which I loved. And I guess that was my first kind of introduction to sales. So putting a tick in the box on the board, every time I got something, I loved that. Yeah. I loved that feeling. Again, I was working with my friends, so I loved it. It's in trying to navigate uni and working. Luckily, that telesales, that company, they set up actually in Sidcup as well. So while I was at uni, I was also doing that.
You was there?
Yeah. Then I got a job in retail at Ted Baker. Was doing a bit there, so I enjoyed that. And then, so I'm at uni, starting to finish uni, thinking, what am I going to do? Summer holidays, I'd actually got a job. Everyone leaves uni during the summer. There's reading weeks, there's long breaks.
Yeah.
So I applied for a job through like an office agency for sales again. Based back out in Maidstone.
Did you gravitate towards sales?
I think it's because I just knew it from doing the telesales. I felt confident doing that, and I was doing well.
Yeah.
So from there, I was just literally calling homeowners to sell water coolers.
Yeah.
So that was my summer doing that, which again, I really enjoyed and I was doing well.
Yeah.
And then from there, so I kind of worked there all summer, got my uni results back, passed, and I thought, what am I going to do now? So I stayed with that business in Maidstone, because I was trying to save up to buy a house. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I kept working there, was doing all right. And then I thought, I can't do this forever. I can't just sell water coolers. And then within that office, the company I was working for, they actually had they was renting like the office space with another water company in the same office, basically. So the other manager said, do you want to come and work for us? Because I see you're doing really well on the board. I was like, okay, yeah. So off I went with them, same office.
That's
really
that's
weird.
unusual, isn't it?
It's like, yeah, having another cleaner.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They just rented the space.
Just looking at the top salespeople going, well, come over to us.
So that's what we done. That's what I done. So worked with them. And then kind of through my experience of working with the theatres and doing live events, the company had started to put together anyway, like a programme about teaching children to drink water and why. And I said to the owner, I know a little bit about theatre, and theatre and education is a great way of kind of spreading knowledge. So we put together a programme that, like a theatre-based workshop that run around all the schools in Kent, so primary schools. So we got local theatre involved, and off we went doing that. And I thought, this is great. Was
it a good sales avenue for the water company to get into the schools?
Say that again.
Was it a good sales avenue for the water company to get into the schools?
Yeah, because you're teaching the children how to drink water and why it's important. And then from that, they put in water coolers and all sorts. This was quite a few years ago.
That's
when
outside
water
the box, isn't it? That's outside the box thinking. I've never like that.
And obviously now, when you think water coolers, you don't really see as many of them anymore.
No.
But back then, and just the main thing was the education, teaching children. So that's what we done. Toured around the schools.
Yeah.
Was actually really enjoying it. Was doing good. And then from there, Mum and Dad would always wanted to retire from the business.
Because they had a janitorial supply business in the background, didn't they? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so that kind of came from, Dad many moons ago had a franchise just selling chemicals. Mum obviously raised me and my brother, was busy enough being a mum.
Yeah.
So Dad was busy doing that. And then he thought, do you know what, I could do this by myself. So he set up my mum initially just to do paper. Okay. So I still remember it now. She had this little van. Do you remember what it's a little Bedford Rascal? The little square box van.
I know the one.
Absolutely tiny. So on the school holidays, my brother, bless him, would sit on the wheel arch in the back. I'd sit in the front on the booster seat, and we'd load it up. And they had Hempstead Valley as their customer. Yeah. So Mum would promise us a KFC. That was the ploy. Summer holidays, get in the van, come out working. I'd just hold the invoices in the front. Yeah. Brother felt sick in the back, going,
older or younger brother?
Older. So you know what Boxley Hill's like?
Yeah.
We had this little van full of toilet rolls. And I remember my mum getting to the top and kind of going, we got to the top. We made it. Like literally putting her foot to the pedal, just trying to get up to the top. So, So Dad had set Mum up doing that. And then everyone would ask, do you do chemicals?
Yeah.
So natural progression was to kind of expand the business. So I used to work out our old front room at home many, many years ago. And the fax machine would go at night, and I still remember now, just going to get the bit of paper and giving it to Mum and Dad.
For the orders,
yeah. And then, so it just kept expanding. And they moved to a little farm, moved all the toilet tissue and a few chemical bits. And then it just got busier. And then, so now obviously I'm at uni, the business was doing well, it had grown. And Dad said to me one day, our dream is to retire and go to France.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of people interested in the business. We're probably going to sell. I said, after all that hard work, like from growing up, that's all me and my brother knew was
your dad, was it hard? I'm interested because I've got three daughters. What was your memory of your dad working? Was that a positive thing or a negative thing? I'm asking for my own self-interest.
Yeah, positive, massively. Always had shiny shoes. Yeah. Always would polish his shoes.
Oh God, don't let him in here then. I'll be in trouble.
Always had shiny shoes. Old school, so
yeah, of course.
Tie, shirt,
nice.
Old school rep. Mum would make his sandwiches, always cheese and pickle. And then some holidays, I'd go out with him. Always buy me Snickers from the garage. But that was our life. Like if we could help in any way, I think Dad quite liked it.
Yeah.
And also, I think customers quite liked it. That I might turn up at 6, 7 years of age in a meeting with him.
Yeah.
Like, I've had to bring my daughter because I've got no childcare.
Yeah. I think it just shows relatability, doesn't it?
And it's how it is.
Yeah, of course. That's the reality of most of it.
Absolutely. And customers like that because actually he was building a business for his family.
Yeah.
And here is one of them.
Yeah. It's that journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, like with our content, people buy into the journey. And like if, they're working, use Hempstead Valley as your reference, if they've seen you doing paper products and then you start doing other stuff and you've got that rapport with someone that's there, they buy into that journey. And obviously, especially if you've got a family element to it as well, where he's got his daughter with him or his son or whatever occasion. Yeah. It definitely helps build rapport. So you were disappointed when they said they were going to sell?
Yeah.
Or contemplating selling? Yeah.
So I was, so just finished uni and thought, that's really sad. Like that's all I've known them to do is work together and build a business. It was a lovely business. And I know people don't like the word nice, but it was a nice business.
Yeah, sure.
And I knew that they wanted to retire and go to France. That's always been their dream. And he kind of said to me, why? What do you think's wrong with that? And I said, well, it's just everything you've worked hard for. And he said, well, why don't you come and join and give it a go? I thought, I don't know. Like, what does that mean? Because I would kind of babysit the business when they would go off to France for like a long weekend to kind of find their house that they wanted to buy. So I'd be writing my dissertation in the office on a Friday, managing the phones, just literally writing down orders. I didn't know much about the business. Yeah. But if I could just look after it for that day so they could go and find their house. So from that point of view, lorries were coming in. I'd have to get next door to kind of offload them. I couldn't do any of that.
Yeah.
Mum had a forklift driver's license, so she could. You just... So when they decided that actually, I would join, it's a shock though, because you think actually to then knowing something that you've grown up with to then working there, how's that going to change everything? Like you're dynamic with your family, with your parents. And at this point, I just put an offer in on a house, my first house. I thought, well, I guess then you kind of look at your risk. And to yourself then when you're young, that's a massive risk going from one job to another and you're just trying to buy a house. Yeah. But actually, no, there wasn't a massive risk at all because now you learn a lot more as you obviously get older.
Do you think people, was you initially put off by that? Like thinking, well, I'm going to go from an employed scenario to working in the family business, pretty much out on your own. I know you are employed in a roundabout way, but was that a thought in the back of your mind?
Yeah, definitely, because my main role was sales. Yeah. And they had a couple of people that would kind of do it from home.
Got it.
They never had somebody that would come into the office and actually grow the business as such.
Just like field reps. Sure.
So I felt the pressure straight away. Because Dad always...
Nothing like the deep end.
And because I was doing well somewhere else, it didn't mean that I would do necessarily well for the business. Yeah. And that came with its own pressure. But he set me up, and I remember for weeks I think he just thought I would just do really well straight away. But we then had 3,000 products to learn. And I just knew a toilet roll to be a toilet roll. Sure. I didn't know meterage. I didn't know... difference between a sanitizer, what type of floor cleaner, it goes on what type of floor. So he taught me a lot, he did, and a lot of time and effort went into it. But it was it was a long slog.
Yeah.
And I remember being there only like 6 weeks and we had a big bust up. I chucked a stapler at him. He would stand up, and it's just because he's passionate, I now know, but at the time, he would stand up and he would point his finger, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But it's because he got frustrated
Sure.
and he wanted it to work.
Yep.
And it's only now as you get older and you look back and you think he just really wanted his family to be involved and it to work well.
Yeah.
And he knew that actually bringing in his family for the business was the right thing.
Yeah.
But how that fits sometimes, you just don't
isn't
know.
Obviously, you're the first person we've had on in a family scenario. Now, we've mentioned off camera before when we was saying hello. You know, we're obviously a family business, and it comes with its challenges.
Yeah.
That, you know, both it's got positive side and it's got negative side. So there's no argument about that. When you come on board, how was that? Was it hard going from obviously, you know, your normal family dynamics to being involved day to day with your family, you know, because most people don't spend that much time with their family.
No.
Then you're dealing with each other day to day. Did you struggle with that initially?
Yeah, the dad's always said, and mum, kind of, we leave family life at the door. When you walk in here, it's business.
Totally agree with that, 100%.
But that comes with feeling, doesn't it? Because there's the heart element that's involved as well. So if he's annoyed me or if I've annoyed him, mainly it's me and my dad actually, not my mum.
Are you alike?
People say we are, but in other ways we're not. Yeah, I guess we are. We're both headstrong. We want to do the right thing and we care a lot.
Yeah, of course.
And we clash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because our scenario, obviously, I've got mum, dad, brother in the business. You know, my dad and brother are very, very similar. And me and my mum are very similar.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can get, and it's ironic that I would say the two that are the most, when they're similar to each other, probably clash with each other the most, generally.
Yeah. And he's a bit of a hothead, and
Is he?
I'm calmer.
Okay. I'm the same with she'd probably kill me, but anyway. I'm the same with Sharon, I would say. You know, she's very reactive and this is how it is, black and white.
Yeah.
I can be a little bit more diplomatic, but still with a firm approach.
Yeah. So Dad's approach was straight away, if something went wrong, he couldn't like step back and think how's he going to deal with it. It would be like, right, we need to get this done. Yeah, very impulse but I can't moan at him. He's created a lovely business like that.
I wonder, I've been looking forward to having you on because I say that family dynamic, I'm in the same scenario and obviously your dad founded that and I can be like that if I'm being reflective on myself. I can be like that. If something goes wrong, I'm like, it's the end, you know, it's the end of the world and it needs to be dealt with right now. And yeah, I don't know if I put that down to passion and I imagine your dad was probably the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, because he just wanted things done right. Yeah. And he only knew his way.
Yeah.
He didn't, you know, he had my mum to bounce off, a couple of the drivers, but he was just figuring it out himself. So to bring someone else in the mix and him being the old school and me at the time new school, especially now, like things have moved on even more so now. But yeah, that was hard. So I'd go out, I'd be on the phones trying to get into new appointments and he'd be like, how many appointments have you made? And you think, like, even now that isn't how we would manage our business now. Mm-hmm. But back then I think I wanted to prove to him that he'd made the right decision.
Yep.
And also I knew that if I'm going to make this work, this is going to be forever. Yeah. I don't want to just give it a go and I want to put my effort into it and do it properly. But because there was no one else to show me, just Dad and his ways, the rest you kind of just make up as you go along. Yeah.
And I suppose, you know, your dad's still solid in the business, so he's still trying to do all the day-to-day stuff as well as trying to spend time with you. Yeah. Your mum's role in the business, how pivotal was that?
Yeah, so she's accounts and still is. So she hasn't retired. Dad has retired now, which was hard.
Yeah. For him?
Yeah, and us. Yeah. But Mum is the calm one anyway. So, yeah, I mean, she's been there from obviously day one. So they've grown it together. They would come home and have arguments, even when we were young. Like that was our life. Yeah. But now, business is nice. It's a nice size business, and we're doing well. And she can come in as and when. She's semi-retired now, but she enjoys coming into work. She's not ready to let go yet.
No.
So Dad has fully let go.
Did they move to France?
Yeah, so they're in France and I'm back here as well. So they're between both. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that journey. So you've gone through learning the business. Tell us, obviously you've been in the role 14 years. Give us an overview of the last sort of 10 years. What's changed in the business? What have you implemented? How's the landscape changed and what does it look like now?
I think the base of the business is still exactly the same. Cool. The core is the same. We care, and our customers, I'd hope, know that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, we react so quickly to them, and then when you don't one day, they're like, oh, why haven't you replied? And you can be your own enemy like that because, we care so much and we reply to everyone. We make sure they've got the right product. But the toughest thing at the moment, I think, is when it's out of your control, because we don't manufacture, we distribute products.
Yep.
When it comes in, you can't check every single box or every chemical. So that is a challenge when you're up against, a product. We only had it yesterday. A sack went out and they're breaking.
Yeah.
And people are putting in heavy product and the sacks are breaking.
Yeah.
And it's this second batch number. And all we can do is ring the manufacturer. We can go and collect them sacks and give them the different products so they've got something to get on with. But when things go out of your control, I think that's the hard one. But where it's grown and where it's changed, my brother joined the business. So
what was he doing before?
He was in air conditioning.
Okay.
He loved his job.
Yep.
But weirdly, my dad didn't invite him in till 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
Dad would always say he just wasn't ready to join the business. He wasn't in the right place. As in, he just had a little boy then. Yeah. He's 8 now. But there wasn't the job role there for him then. When now it is. And now it couldn't imagine him not being there. Yeah. So where it's changed, I think products change, I guess.
Yeah.
People have changed. We've brought in different people and then some haven't worked out because it's hard. Someone else coming from outside into a family-run business.
Yeah, we struggle with that. And I mentioned again on camera, we're going through a period of change in our business. We're sort of getting ready for the next stage of growth. And, we've got a new GM and he's getting on fantastic. He's clearly committed to the role. You can get them feeling straight away. But struggle, and we're all guilty of it, including myself. Letting go of certain elements is difficult, but then you're not enabling that person to do their job to their full capacity that they're paid to do. It's a tough one, especially with family involved. And I say we get that. And how do you get on with defining who's doing what? Because the trouble we have is something goes wrong. We all want to your sack solution. That scenario if we flip that to JCD, that would be complaint will come in. We'll all find out about it, and it'll be like, right, all hands to deck to get it resolved for that because that's what you want to do for your customers. But then you'll get, James will go and pick the bags up, and then I'll go to site to pick the bags up, and they've already gone. So you get bits and pieces So do you have you managed to get clearly defined roles of what everyone's doing, and everyone stays within that particular lane?
Mostly. So John doesn't really like being in the office. So John's my brother. So he's mainly out on the road delivering.
He likes being out
looks up. Yeah, he loves it. Yeah. I think doing what he'd done before, he's great with people.
Sure.
Customers love him. He's helpful. He's a nice guy. And he's also good because when he's out and about delivering, he's quite good to get little add-ons. Yeah. Or he's got good product knowledge. So why wouldn't we want to send him? Because if, a customer's got an issue, he can resolve it there and then. Yeah. And that's helped, I think, having the drivers have good product knowledge. So sometimes it doesn't need to come back to the office to be resolved. They can deal with it there and then.
Someone there on site.
Yeah.
Do you deliver all your own products?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we cover all of Kent, going to Sussex, Central London. We still have a few in Central London. It's just a pain, isn't it? Trying to get in and out of London.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Especially when we pride ourselves on our service.
Yeah.
And when roads are closed and traffic's
Trying to give someone an ETA must be, it is impossible, not nigh on impossible, it is impossible. Yeah, so we have issues with, I find the issues when companies use couriers. That's when it becomes, like you just mentioned, your brother, he's out, he knows his products, he can deal with customers there, and then he knows their specific needs. You put that in the hand of a third party, it goes back to what we're saying about the products. It's difficult to control, isn't it? But I digress. So everyone's got their job, they know what they're doing.
So, and I'm mainly sales, day-to-day running of the business, looking at new ideas.
Yep.
But then that just becomes, it is overwhelming some days. It's because you're trying to do too many things.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think it's the way my brain is as well. I'm always looking at different things, and then sometimes I digress and don't finish that job, and then I just like doing a million things at once.
I'm the same.
That's just my personality.
I'm the same as you, to be honest. I think that's, when you're high functioning in a business that's on your own, you're looking at so many different facets and avenues and thinking of different, strategies that you can go, that you get bogged down. And some days, like yesterday, I was saying to Gary, I'd been in the office since 7:30. I looked at the time, it was 1 o'clock, and I literally had done nothing, basically, just taking phone calls and being reactive. What's the sales strategy for the business? Is it just cold outreach to customers? What do you find is the best approach?
Initially it was, I was literally just doing telesales.
Yeah.
That's what I knew, So, and it worked. And then as we got more and more customers, in the last couple of years, it's mainly just been focusing on our existing and growing them, because there's so many other things that they could be having from us that they were buying elsewhere.
Yep.
And if we're going there anyway, man in the van, if we can put some more products on the van for them, then it just made sense.
Yeah, perfect sense.
We're picking up new ones along the way anyway because of word of mouth.
Yeah.
But we do mainly I mainly email out, or a lot of it is word of mouth. There's no real rule on what we do. Again, I think that is the benefit of being a small family-run business. If one day I want to pick up the phone and ring some new potential customers, I do it.
Yep.
If another day the boys come back with a lead because they've spoke to somebody whilst they've been out delivering and noticed that there was some blue roll next door in another premises, then they're going to have a chat with them there.
You've got that ability when you're, still small, medium size, to be dynamic, haven't you?
Yeah. And there's no rules, is there?
Do you find as you grow, you're losing that? Or do you fear you're going to lose it?
No, I don't fear it, because I think...
Not going to let it?
No, absolutely. We care so much to the point that maybe too much.
Yep.
That it upsets us.
Yeah.
If we've missed something off a delivery, or the boys have come back and be like, oh, why did we miss that soap off? It's been double ticked. Like, we have our little procedures and it's still sitting there in the unit.
Yeah.
It just, accidents happen. We're all human.
Yeah.
But we'll be straight on the phone to that customer and let them know that, sorry, you're missing a soap, or you're missing a box of hand towels, or...
So outside your family dynamics, have you recruited externally into the business?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you find that?
We did. It was tricky because they need to put up with us. They do. Like, some days we would argue in the office, especially when my dad was there.
Employees standing there like, oh my God, what's going on?
Might be a scary place for them. But I think they soon got used to it.
Yeah.
That actually, it's just us doing our job.
Yeah. And you've got regular staff that have been with you for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't get lost with a bit of paper. You can't go wandering around up to the 3rd, 4th floor to waste an hour.
Yeah.
You can't hide.
No, of course.
And everyone just gets involved with whatever.
Do you find they become, there's a bit of a cliche. How do you feel about, like, obviously you're a family business. How do you feel about staff members? Do you sort of go along that lines of that they are sort of become part of the family because you're so invested into the business?
Yeah, but they all obviously come with their own story, like we do, and their own situations.
Yeah.
And we try to make them as much of a family if they want to be.
Yeah, of course.
Some people they just want to come and do their job, and that's absolutely fine.
Get paid at the end of the week and then go home.
As long as they do their job.
Yeah.
And that's also fine.
Yeah.
But we have good family morals, good morals as a business, and no one can ever take away that we don't care.
Yeah.
So if we ever had a customer turn around to us and say, we can get a cheaper product from elsewhere, that's fine. Like, we're not the cheapest.
Yeah.
We're not the most expensive, but our guys will deliver that. They'll go and put it away.
Yeah.
We don't just dump it
Sure.
in reception or wherever. So it's those little things like the housekeeping as well.
I have the same view as you. In our industry, and even in the janitorial industry, I would imagine, you've got two separators really, haven't you? Price, service.
Yep.
No one really wants to be in that price element, but, you know, it plays a factor in it, of course. But it's the service you deliver on the ground. I think I said to you before we started about the team. It's what separates us from the cleaning company next door is actually what our team do on the ground. And that sounds like it's the same for you guys.
Yeah. Example of that, before my time, Dad always told me a story where a rep came in with a blue centre feed roll and said to him it was 150 metres. My dad, being my dad, told him to go and roll it outside in the barn, and he did, and it wasn't 150 metres. Yeah. And again, that's because we care. We're not going to sell a product that we don't believe in, and we don't think it's going to work. And also, don't fob us off. Yeah, we might be small, but some of the manufacturers back in the day, I think, used to chance it. Yeah. Still
get them now, don't you? I always ask, is there, you know, business is full of many highs and lows. Is there a particular low point that you've had within the family business that you'd be willing to share with us? Because everyone looks at the glory, don't they? You know, we all put the good stuff on social media, you know, and there have been times where, you know, especially in a family environment, in my family environment anyway, you know, we've had some tough times back of house. And of course, you put up the shop window because at the end of the day, you know, family issues don't spill into work. But is there any particular one stories you could tell us?
I'd say probably
upsetting anyone.
Probably Dad retiring.
Yeah. Like, why was that?
As in his plan to retire, there wasn't one. Yeah. He wanted to retire, but how that would be and how that would go, no one knew. And at the time, we did have a mentor, and he came in and he had all these strategies, and Dad literally just tore it up and was like, "That's not going to work for me." Yeah. And only he knew how that would work, and we all just had to sit back and watch it unfold, really. Yeah.
What did the retirement look like?
So one day he would come in and say to us, right, you know, you're running it now. It's down to you. You make all these decisions. And then the next day he wanted the control again. Got you. So it was so confusing. But now we know, looking at it, it was just his way of trying to step back from the business. Yeah. So he eventually just kind of came in for like 3 days out of the 5. And then it just naturally happened, actually. I mean, there wasn't like a set plan of how that would be or how it should go. I mean,
I imagine that was hard for you guys, because one minute you think, right, I've got a hold of this. This is how it's going to be moving forward. Yeah. Dad comes back in and goes, no, actually, you know, I'm back in doing
frustrating like this. And that would cause arguments. Yeah. But only because we all care again.
Yeah. Probably because he didn't want to let go, right?
He didn't. And now he'll say that. Yeah. So on a Friday, that's usually when they would travel to France. Yeah. So he'd stir the pot. He'd make like a whole new thing up. He'd go and look at a new product. And then on Monday, loads of new samples would arrive. Like just something that we didn't need. Yeah. But that was him just, I think maybe either testing us or I don't know. But I think the hardest bit was the control from both sides, actually, for him to let go and for us to say, right, we're just doing this now. Yeah.
How did you resolve it in the end? Or did it resolve itself?
I think it was just time. Yeah. Yeah. Time. And then eventually he wasn't in as much anymore. And we was just doing it.
Just getting on.
And you don't realise actually how things happen. It just does, doesn't it?
Just gets there. And maybe he's gone away and, you know, realised actually, I took a week off this week and everything's still going as it should be. Absolutely, you know, does he still keep in touch with the business in terms of?
He comes in, has a coffee, has a chat. Yeah. And then realises there's no need for him. Yeah. I think he hated it when we was trying to understand how he would kind of leave the business as such. We'd give him a new job to do out in the yard and do some picking. We gave him a bit of paper and what he needed to pick. Didn't like it. So that soon got rid of him. Yeah,
he's like, I've had enough of this.
Yeah, didn't like that. Didn't like that he wasn't in control. Yeah. And I think, again, because it was his baby from the beginning. Yeah. And to realise that actually, no, they can do it. Yeah. He still calls us the kids. We're still the kids.
You're going to be always your kids, aren't you? I can imagine... I can imagine from his perspective, because, you know, being founder of our business from zero, you know, the thought of actually I'm not needed there now. I think that's probably the crux of it, isn't it? I've spent my life doing this business and it's to a point, and we all aspire to be there. You know, you want a business that functions without you. But it's like even me thinking about it now, if I think, you know, my business got to a point where people were saying, or, you know, not saying to me, but in a roundabout way, actually, Chris, we don't need you here. We're going where it should. You go and do what you want to do. I imagine that's tough.
Yeah. And because he had always had it in his mind that they were going to retire at some point, I think when he kind of eventually took a step back and we was actually able to just do it, I think, it was a shock.
Yeah. What were some of the biggest lessons you took from mum and dad?
I think just always make sure that you don't stop caring about you as a business, you and your family, and you just as like a good, strong morals, and make sure that your customers are happy. If they're not, then why? What are we doing wrong? I think maybe, again, we do take it personally. But it's going back to because we care a lot. Okay. So just always keep going with you know, being strong and just looking forward as well. Always look at what else could come around the corner, because you never know.
No, of course.
But just look after each other, and then you'll get the best out of the situation, the best out of your team. But just don't stop caring. No,
that's when you see it from the bigger companies. They just ain't got the capacity to really care. I know that, you know, everyone says, "Oh yeah, we care about all of our customers, no matter size." And the bottom line is, if you've got 10,000 customers, there's no physical way that you can go around every single one and give them the attention that they need that an SME like us can give. And there's that fine balance when you're growing, because you still want to grow, you want to be as big as possible, but as I say, trying to keep hold of that site. And
when people ring, they ring with their they just tell. Sometimes they don't even tell us who they are. Yeah, you just kind of have to go, "Who's that?" Oh yeah, I know that voice. Yeah, because they don't even introduce themselves, because they won't give you their account number. That's not how we are. Yeah. We know them.
You know they are. You've got that rapport.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then half the time they have a chit chat to you on the phone, and then at the end of it, they go, "Oh yeah, I was actually ringing to place an order." Yeah. But we know so much about our customers that actually you're their ear on the end of a phone as well. Yeah. If they're having a bad day, you'll hear about it first.
Yeah, you get it. But that's a testament to the rapport that you've got with customers, isn't it?
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, is there a fond moment within the business that you can particularly recall? Like, you know, saying that you really look, I gave you an example of ours off camera. You know, our first 7-figure cleaning contract that we procured, you know, that was a pivot. You know, there have been several, taking on our first manager, you know, senior manager, all big moments. Have you got any that you look back fondly on?
I think, without sounding like I'm digging my dad out, I'm not at all. But when he finally didn't really come in anymore. Yeah. Because all that done was show us that we're doing this and he's not needed anymore. Yeah. So everything he's taught us and that we're learning, we're doing this and we're in control of it now. And that was a long time coming. I think that was probably like 3 years in the making. Yeah. So from when that actually happened, again, I can't even tell you when that was. It just happened.
Just a natural progression. Yeah.
So now when he just comes in and has his coffee, he wouldn't have any idea about the business anymore. And that's a really weird feeling.
But it shows that it's moved, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, which is what you want.
Which is what we wanted. Yeah. Yeah.
Because like, as we mentioned, like my dad is in the business. You know, he's got his perceptions of what business should look like, how we should operate, and it's moved since then. The business, you know, landscape is drastically different. You know, you've got to consider culture, you've got to consider, you know, social media, tech, you know, all that stuff that's got to come in. The old school operators, you know, they're spit and sawdust, let's get the job done, don't matter how, don't worry about tech, we'll just keep it on a piece of paper or a notepad or whatever. And it doesn't function like that now, does it? So it sounds like it was like a bit of a clean slate for you guys to start moving forward.
I think a lot of it we still do, like some of the old school ways, because actually, do you know what, they do work for us.
It's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah, and we all just get on with it. Yeah. But I think that was a big point, that all of a sudden we didn't need him. Yeah. Because he was the face of the business. He was, everyone, like all the reps obviously knew him. Yeah. He was a big part. And then now they're having to deal with us. That was a massive change.
Do you get round to see lots of different reps and suppliers in your role as sales and marketing director?
Yeah, so yes and no. I mean, we are in our little bubble. We are. I mean,
is it a case of you've got a core range that you know works, you know your customers like, you know price point is where you need it to be, margins are where you need to be, and we're going to stick within these four walls here?
I think so. And sometimes you just keep your ship tight, don't you? You know it works.
Yep.
We're never going to be the biggest supplier out there.
Do you have a desire to, or not really?
A desire to make sure that we still care and to have a good, solid business, But to become the biggest, best, as in value, no. I think...
And that's okay, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think in today's world, we've always got to be perceived to be doing what new things are you doing, what exciting things are you doing, what are you turning over. It's
fanny.
Too much.
Yeah, it's
too much.
9 times out of 10 it's fanny.
Yeah.
The cold hard reality of the cleaning industry, for much as we scream innovation, it hasn't moved in. I've been in it, and this might be controversial, and I'm sure, hopefully it is. You know, it hasn't moved, really.
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't think it's come on as much as everyone seems to proclaim it has.
Yeah.
If you've got a core range that you offer that works at a good price point, that makes money for you, it's good for your contractor, it meets all, regulations. Yeah, I'm sure we need to go more environmentally friendly. I understand that, but it hasn't moved on that much. And if it works, why?
And we do offer other ranges, and that's also fun, but you've still got your old school customers that still like certain things. Yeah. And to then go and upset them, we're not ready to do that. We don't want to do that.
Of course. And you've got the control over it, haven't you?
Yeah. And I think also what is wrong with having a nice, solid business? It doesn't mean you're the biggest.
Yeah.
But I think from our point of view, because we all care and we do have a good business. Yeah. Like we do.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
That's refreshing, because I say, and I could fall guilty of that sometimes. I do want growth for our business because I think we've got capacity. We've definitely got capacity to do that. And I've got a revenue figure in mind that I'd like to get to, because I know we can still bridge that gap between the big guys and small guys, so we can, but still have that capacity to care. It's a bit of a cliche, but we're big enough to cope, but still small enough to care. I can't believe I said that on camera, but you get where I'm coming from. And that's okay. It doesn't always have to be, we want to be 100 million or, Janitorial Express or one of the, or Bunzel or whatever it may be. If it's working, you've got a customer base and you're earning a good lifestyle out of it. You're not bogged down too much with stress. Me and
my brother both got young children, and, my nephews are into football. Yeah. So I saw my dad do it. He'd leave work early, go and watch my brother play football. He'd be the dad at the football matches. My brother's doing that. And it's that balance. I know nothing's ever balanced, but it's got to work for the business as well. That's number one. It pays our wages. But to make sure we're still there for the kids and watching them do things that they enjoy as well. Yeah. So my brother gets to see his son at his football matches on the afternoon, because it works well, because we've got a good, solid business. Yeah. And if that means he has to get up extra early, go out delivering early to get back, that's what we do.
Yeah. Have you got any pieces of advice? I'm going to ask you this twice over, just because of the family scenario. What's your number one piece of advice for anyone that's thinking of going into business with their family? Don't.
No, I think...
I'm joking.
Do it if you know that you can, say if you had an argument, make sure that you do resolve it quick.
Yes.
So I'm the world's worst. Dad wants to hug it out straight away. I can't do that. I have to, you've annoyed me. I need to just sit and think about it.
Is that a female thing?
I don't know, maybe.
I think it is.
Maybe.
My wife does that. I'm like that. I'm like, look, we've had a row. Let's get it sorted. Go on.
So just make sure that whatever happens, you can resolve it.
Get it resolved.
Yeah. And don't let it affect the business.
Yep.
If that's what you're trying to build, or you want to build a business, that is your main worry. Okay, family is also, but it's hard, isn't it? But make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons as well.
You do have that. You mentioned it earlier. I think you hit the nail on the head. You've got the business element of it, but you've also got a heart involved in it. And
Massively,
that, you know, whereas if I'm dealing with someone, you know, if I'm dealing with another business owner, I don't know them personally. I haven't got an emotional connection to them, for the want of a better phrase. So it's a little bit more black and white. If I upset them, I'm not as bothered, or if we have a fallout, you know, it is what it is. Whereas if you've got someone that you're emotionally connected with, it makes it a lot more difficult, doesn't it?
Yeah. But maybe again, because Dad only worked for like one other person before, I've only worked for one other person before. So maybe, you know, maybe it's not the right answer, but yeah, just don't stop caring as well. I think as soon as you stop caring, maybe it's not the right thing for you anymore, or don't stop caring.
And the same question again, but for anyone, forget the family element, you know, that's thinking about going into business, you know, wants to start their own business, because, you know, we've got people that watch that are in the industry or whatever. I get, surprisingly, you know, lots of messages offline of people that saying, oh, you know, I had one recently, you know, oh, I've seen your podcast, I've seen some of your guests, I want to start my own business, I'm not quite sure how to go about it. Again, what would be some advice you would give someone that's looking to start a business? And that could be in the janitorial supplies, it could be, you know, cleaning in general.
Yeah. I think take your time as well. Don't think you've got to be this big superstar business overnight, because it doesn't. Well, I mean, it does. Some people do. But also research that business idea and if you're going to bounce ideas around, bounce them around to anybody. And don't always think you're going to be the biggest in everything you do, because actually it's fine not to be. But to be a successful business, I think, is to make sure you're doing the right thing that feels right in your heart. Again, I sound like a hippie, but I think it's got to feel right.
Yeah.
And again, just don't stop caring about what you do, whatever that is.
I think you've raised a fantastic point. You know, about you don't have to. Everyone that aspires, I want to be, you know, this, I want to have that, and it doesn't need to be like that. Like, to be honest with you, and I contemplate this all the time. Depends what mood I'm in, to be honest with you, Hannah. It's like, I could quite happily have my business as it is now, earn a good living, probably free up some more time because I'm not trying to do that growth piece. And truth is, probably be a little bit less stressed, more happier, more present when you're with children and family members and things like that. And that's okay, isn't it? Yeah,
I think so. And I think also where we are personally, young children, they come with the challenges. You've got nursery drop-offs, school drop-offs, and then you're putting your business head on, then you're being a mum, and then you're making sure dinner's done. So all those things are part of life. Yeah. And this bit won't be forever. So don't get me wrong, in a few years when they're both at school, I might have more time and you know, and a bit of a drive to go, no, let's make this bigger. Yeah. But it's all relative to what you're doing at that time. Yeah. And it's all got to work for you and your family, I think, as well.
So what's next for Chartway Janitorials? What's the plans? Good customer service, looking after our customers.
Always, yeah. I think if that ever failed, then I don't think we'd have a business anymore, if I'm honest, because that, again, is why people come to us. Yeah. Keep doing what we're doing and add along the way. Yeah.
What's your goals in the future? Sell, exit, staying in the business till you retire? Hand it down to the kids?
Stay in the business would be great, absolutely. I still feel like I'm learning all the time, and I still want to learn about new products and what else is going on out there. And I think, again, being a family business, you do get stuck in your box.
Yeah, of course.
Because you're just busy running the business, aren't you?
Yeah.
So again, no, I'm up for more challenges and whatever else is going to happen. Yeah. Just keep pushing on, whatever that is. No massive dreams and aspirations, just keep going and have a good, solid business.
Yeah. If our viewers want to find you or look at what you do, where can they find the website, your social medias and things like that?
Yep, so we're chartwayjanitorial.co.uk.
Kent-based.
Which
is what we like.
Yep, nice and local. Yeah, on there.
Yeah? On social media yourself?
LinkedIn, I'm on. But apart from that, no.
Don't bother.
Again, rubbish with that as well.
Well, again, I think it leads into what we were saying. I think the key takeaway for me today is I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's, everyone's like, oh, yeah, I want to be a billionaire overnight, preferably. And the bottom line is that's not what it's all about, really, is it? I think, as I say, for me, across the board in the cleaning, hygiene, janitorial, in all of it, I think service is the only separator. We can all go on about, these fantastic innovations, fantastic chemicals. We've got these fantastic pieces of kit.
You can't deliver it.
Spot on. I think it's all, we're both salespeople effectively, and that's all it is sales stuff. At the end of the day, if you're not delivering on sure, then bits and pieces help.
Yeah.
But it's about the service on the ground. I think that's the number one separator between a good and bad cleaning company.
And what is wrong with being a family-run company?
Nothing.
It's definitely helped us.
Yeah.
I think also like sending in my brother, sending in my dad, or sending in my mum. They like that.
Yeah.
So
we've had just before we close one. I don't suppose it's much of an issue. Might not be an issue on your side of the fence. We some customers, especially as we get bigger, if they say like Dad goes in and he jump on a machine with one of the cleaners or whatever, and he's helping out operationally, like down on the ground. I suppose a similar example would be if you went out doing the delivery. I have had customers, usually bigger customers, frown upon that.
Really?
Do you have much of an issue with that? I don't suppose might be just different market.
We get more, if Dad's gone out in the van, because we've sent him out just with one of the boys even, just to get him out of the office. They're like, we saw Mick today.
Yeah.
What's he doing out? Why is he allowed out?
Yeah.
But it's more of a talking point.
Sure.
But I know, I do get what you mean. We have had it. We have had, it's not seen, it's not, in a bigger, because they come from a big corporate company.
Yeah.
Why would the MD go out?
Yeah, sure.
Like, that's not his job. But why can't it be? Why can't he go out and do that?
I don't see how you keep rapport without doing that.
And how do you see what's going on?
Like if you didn't talk to your customers and your dad didn't, and your brother didn't go out doing the deliveries.
I go out in the van. I go out. I like it.
Then you lose touch.
Yeah.
A bit of a double-edged sword, that one, isn't it?
I think probably as businesses get bigger and bigger, it's then you're getting in, new people into new roles because, as you said, you're scaling. But what point do you get to where you go, do you know what, we're comfortable where we are? And like you said, with your dad going out, I like that.
Yeah, I do. I think it adds a personal touch. But like you say,
but he's the knowledge, right? So actually, him going out and doing that, so they realise that they've got the best man on the job there. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
But it's just what people perceive. Yeah,
and that's all it is. It's a perception thing as well. Yeah. As long as you're delivering the service you need to, I think that's the only thing you need to. Any company needs to worry about getting the service right on the ground. It's been interesting to chat to someone that's in a family business, and I've enjoyed it.
Have you ever chucked a stapler at your dad though?
No, I haven't. I'll be honest with you, not yet. I mean, to be fair, we don't have much of a crossover now. We did in the early days, and usually when we're in a reactive state, so when we're firefighting, everyone will jump in and get involved. But it's like a dog pile. It's like, the issue's there, everyone jumps on top of it, but then the issue doesn't really get resolved. We just need to get better at, this is what you do, this is what you do, and keeping it that way. But I'm the worst for it, because as soon as something goes wrong, I'm there to try and get it done. And again, that just purely goes back to you caring, isn't it? You're going to get any recruitment coming up soon or anything like that? Or
who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Honestly, I couldn't even tell you. Like, I think we just keep going, and whatever kind of comes across, we then deal with.
Do it.
Maybe that's wrong.
No, I think that's the best approach. We're like that. It took us 2 years to get, actually go right. And usually when we're in a desperate state that we go, right, actually we're going to get someone in that role. I say we've got our first senior manager, which is great, and that's proving good. But like I say, you've only got to take, I find generally everyone I spoke to, 9 times out of 10, they're just taking each day as it comes and making it up as they go along.
Yeah. And
really,
it's great to have big plans. It is. But also we're just looking after it as it is now and making sure that we've still got a great business.
Yeah.
And we're okay with that.
Yeah, and that is okay. So we'll put Hannah's details down in the description below. So if you guys want to check out Chartway, you can. Hannah, thank you for coming over and spending some time with me today. That wraps up another episode, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for us. And if you're listening to us on audio, make sure you follow along, because that is really helping. We're getting some fantastic numbers, and we want you guys to keep checking in. So that wraps up this week's podcast, and we will see you on the next one.